Hey, welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Today we're going to talk about rock bottom. And I hope that this episode helps any of you that may be feeling a bit down or think that you've kind of hit the end and you can't continue, because I've been there. And I know that feeling. I know how hard it is. And so today I want to dedicate this episode to really telling my story about my rock bottom and how I climbed out of it and persevered and what it took. Because when you get to that point where you've kind of done everything that you can and it's not worked out and you're getting down on yourself and things around you are kind of collapsing, like, it's easy to throw in the towel and quit. And I've done it. And I've learned a lot of lessons, and so I hope my story helps you. So I've told some of this story throughout episodes, but maybe not in this fashion, and maybe not in the totality of kind of this concept. So somewhere around, I guess it was the end of my sophomore year, I was trying different ideas, and I wouldn't even call them businesses, as they were just literally ideas. And I didn't have a lot of money, and nothing was really working, and I wasn't doing great in school. I was doing okay, and I just kind of hit a point in my life where I was really down on myself, down on what I was capable of, down on my future. And I thought to myself, like, maybe this isn't my journey. Maybe school's not my journey. Maybe business isn't my journey, and maybe I need to think about just kind of getting a job and trying to figure things out. And so I had left school. I didn't have a car at the time because my car had been repossessed. I had no credit, couldn't buy a car, and my aunt, who had recently passed away, thank goodness, had left me her 1984 Plymouth Reliant K. Now, if you have no idea what that is, it is a very old, very antiquated car that, as a 19, 20-year-old kid, I was not very excited about driving. I guess I was 19. And thank goodness she had left that to me, though. And so I had that Plymouth Reliant K. I got in my car in Salt Lake City, Utah, and set out to drive to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where my parents lived at the time. And kind of gave up on school, gave up on business, gave up on thinking that I was going to become this entrepreneur, and drove across the country. And literally, as I pulled into the outskirts of Milwaukee, the Plymouth Reliant K died. And I hopped on a bus with my 2 bags that had everything I owned inside of them, and went to my parents' house. Legs or tail between my legs, hat in hand, just not good. And I said to them, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just need to figure things out. And so I moved into their spare bedroom in this downtown condo in Milwaukee. And the next morning I went into the pages of the advertisement or classifieds and ended up getting an interview at a car dealership and got a job selling cars. And I never sold cars, and didn't really know what I was doing. And the first day they gave me some cursory training, some manuals to read, and they said, when people come in, talk to them. I said, okay. And there were like 20 salespeople that were, and if you've been to a car dealership a lot, you know the scene. As soon as you get out of your car, you're mobbed by like 3 or 4 people that want to talk to you. And I was told, those are for the seasoned salespeople. You wait inside, and as the overflow comes, you wait there. And I sat around. I probably talked to 1, maybe 2 people that first day. And then second day, same thing. And I was like, by day 3, I'm like, this is not going to work. I can't do this. And so I grabbed the white pages. And for those of you that are young, that's basically a phone book with residential names in it. And I literally started calling people out of the phone book to see if they were looking to upgrade their car or trade in their car, and convince them to come in for a test drive. And I was banging out dozens, if not hundreds, of phone calls in that third day. And my manager came up to me and was like, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm calling people to see if they are looking for a new car. He's like, we don't do that. No, stop. And I said, well, I just can't sit around here and wait for people to call me all day. And he had said, well, that's what we do. And so after my third day, I went home. I was even more deflated than when I got there. I mean, I had no college degree, no job, no prospect for anything, no car. I had nothing to my name other than the bag of clothes and odds and ends that I had in my other bag. And I was feeling really down on myself, and I didn't know what to do. And I laid in bed that night, and I woke up the next morning, and I said to my parents, I'm leaving. And they said, where are you going? I said, I'm going back to college, and I'm going to go figure out my life. And I got on a Greyhound bus and got on the, I guess it was 25, 30-hour bus ride back to Salt Lake City. I re-enrolled in college. My buddy had a shed behind his house that he let me live in. Thank goodness for him. And I had another friend that had an old Honda Nighthawk motorcycle. He loaned it to me so I could get around. And for the next 30 days, I just kind of put my head down. I got a basic job, and I'm like, I got to figure things out. And in my darkest day, had I have not gotten back in that car and headed back west, I'd probably be selling cars today, I guess, or doing something else. Certainly not where I am today, but I hit that point in my life where just everything was bad, and the only way I could see out of it was taking control of my life. And I think it was that moment when my manager at the car dealership saw me making phone calls and said, we don't do that, we wait for people to come in, that I had the realization in my mind that you have it. You know what you need to do to be successful, but you just have the wrong vehicle to get you there. And so, I really started to evaluate what it is that, I wanted to do, wanted to become, and whether I was going to control my own destiny or whether I was going to let someone else tell me what my value is. And at that point, like I said, I got back in my car and went back, or I got back in the bus and went back across the country. And when I got there, I talked to a friend of mine. We talked about the internet and the World Wide Web, which was only a couple years old at the time. And that's when everything in my life changed. And from there on, started a company called Consumer Link with a friend that later became a company called Millennium International, which really set my whole entrepreneurial journey in motion, and my first exit of a business at 20 years old or 21 years old. And that's when I knew. And I had to go through these moments of, just really dark days of feeling depressed and down, to having a car repossessed, which if you've ever had that happen is just a horrific, embarrassing, just awful experience. And then, driving this crappy old beater car, having it break down as you get there, getting on a Greyhound bus, going across the country. Like, all of these moments had to happen for me to recognize my potential. And the reason I tell you this, because if you've had the idea to start a business, you have it. You have the motivation, you have the desire, you have the willingness to become a success, but it's not a straight line. There's stories of people who just instantly become successful, but that is not the norm. And so you need to recognize that it's not going to be a straight line. There are going to be a lot of bumps, and in my case, a lot of bumps. But you have it, and you have to believe in yourself, even when no one else, including yourself at times, does. You've got to trust in your belief, in your desire, in your motivation, and use that really rock bottom moment to catapult you into the success that you've set out to do. So I've been there. I know what that's like. I'm sorry if you're in that moment right now, but trust me, it's not going to get better by not doing anything. And so you got to keep at it. You got to keep trying. You got to keep getting back up and dusting yourself off, and success will come. Even if it's not the first, second, third, or even fourth time, just keep at it. Don't quit. All right. I hope this helped. Please remember to like, comment, and share. And really appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Thanks so much. Take care. you.